drop me on that rock. We're good to there. Excellent. Okay, stay there. Everybody okay? Okay, we've got all the time in the world. We're just going to slow down. We're going to take you all. We're going to take you all to the boat, but one at a time. I'd like to take this girl first, okay? You're going to be okay with me. You trust me, okay? It's okay. It's okay. It's just this rock here. It's going to be fine. You see this ladder on this side? You see the ladder? Good. A little bit more. A little bit more to me. Yes. Go, go, go.
Well, Mary, tell us a little. What prompted you to go to Lesbos in the first place? I mean, was this something you'd wanted to do for a long time, or a new interest?
It's been something on my mind for a long time. I can certainly say that there were probably at least 5 years where I was looking to get involved with something involving the refugee crisis, my life, you know, connecting with it somehow. As far as sort of the reasons, they're pretty convoluted. You know, I can reach back pretty far into personal reasons and just paying attention to things as they evolved, you know, on the news. I have a sister who lives over there, so I was aware of it from, not on Lesbos, but in France, and it was something I was aware of. Yeah.
So Lesbos attracted you because that was where most of the refugees that are coming over from Syria and other parts of the Middle East, that's the first stop.
2 reasons. Yeah, it's definitely the front line. I mean, it's 5 miles across the Aegean, the Straits to Turkey, and it is one of the places where most of the landings happen. It certainly happens in the South Shore. We're on the North Shore. And the other reason was the group that I joined, the organization. I was really impressed with what they were doing. It's Lighthouse Relief, originally a Swedish organization that was literally born of immediate need. I think the founders were actually there as it happened and decided to organize and pull it together, and eventually have become a registered NGO with the Greek government, and are also present on the mainland in some long-term camps. But what they're doing on Lesbos is very much immediate need, you know, direct address to people as they come off these dinghies.
So give us a sense of what's going on there. I mean, is it simply the case that folks are coming over in these often not very seaworthy vessels? They're making the 5-mile journey from the coast of Turkey to Lesbos, and what, they just land on the shore, and do they have any ideas of what happens next, or? A
lot of times they don't even know they've made it to Europe. I mean, they get in these, they call them floating coffins. I mean, these are dinghies meant for 10 people. You might find 50 or 60 people soaking wet, unaware of how to even navigate a boat. They've bought the boat for something like 600 euros a pop. I mean, it's a huge moneymaker for somebody somewhere. Or they've paid a smuggler to take them, which is the video that we're watching. That was a smuggler drop-off. And they just ditch them as fast as they can and leave them in really precarious situations, which is often the case if they're alone too, and turn around and, you know, make haste to get out of the way of the Coast Guard and Frontex.
So your job then was to get these folks off the boats and into some kind of a housing situation where they would at least be, you know, okay for a little while.
No, our job was to find them, you know, because Lesbos is very remote, very rocky, very undeveloped. So that you were talking goat paths down to rocky shores that are, you know, pretty precarious to get to, and let alone be there, you know, after you've gotten off a boat. And immediate needs are emergency blankets, because they're soaking wet a lot of times. It's very cold. We look for signs of hypothermia. We give them dry shoes if we have them. We give them clothes if we have them. We give them biscuits, crackers, nuts, whatever we have, and just try to get them warm until the police can arrive or decide, you know, it's time to move them. And then they're moved into a couple of places, one of them being the notorious Moria, which is a detention camp, literally. I mean, it's an overcrowded, ill-equipped former prison. In the big city on Lesbos, which is called Mytilene, and there's something like 7,000 people living in really dire conditions there right now.
So what happens to these folks after they've arrived and they're off the boat and settled, if that's the right term? I mean, are they there for the indefinite future, or they could just be stuck there for years?
It's very possible, yeah. The EU is, well, I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. I mean, there's just a lot of political confusion. There's a lot of overwhelmed people, you know, as far as the Europeans go, and they just don't, I mean, 800,000 people came across last year through Lesbos, you know, and other points, and that's a lot of people to absorb in 1 year.
Well, these are pretty tiny islands too. I mean, like these are...
Yeah. There's Lesbos, and then there's Chios and Samos, which are even smaller but closer to Turkey, and there are a lot of them there as well, in pretty bad camps too.
So, I mean, how long can that status quo be maintained? I mean, that sounds like a pretty unsustainable sort of situation.
Well, given that I don't see it letting up anytime soon, although it's slowed down with the borders closing, I have no idea. I mean, I think it's a catastrophe. I think it's the defining crisis of certainly my life, most likely my child's life. That generation, you can't move what I think are right now 65 million people, whether they're internally displaced or trying to make their way to Europe or in fact already in Europe, and not have long-term consequences, and obviously a lot of confusion. And
these refugees are coming not just from Syria and other places in the Middle East, but from Africa as well, and places really far away. They're trying to find this very circuitous route into Europe just to kind of escape what? Warfare? Starvation?
A lot of them are escaping, you know, Mosul, ISIS-controlled areas, Afghanis, Iraqis, Burmese. I mean, they're coming from everywhere. Yeah.
And you're going back there next year?
In 20 days.
20 days?
Yeah, something like that. What is today? The 27th, yeah.
Okay. Wow. And staying for, what, another month or so?
Yeah, about a month.
Okay. Wow, well, good luck.
Thank you.
That's important stuff. Well, thank you. Mary Allen, a volunteer with the Lighthouse organization, helping out in a very dire crisis in Lesbos, a small island off of Turkey. Good luck.
Thank you.